All right. Work. And take a break here. You have Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. He's standing by. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Some names immediately evoke an uncommon sense of
UNCF,
family,
the United
an
Negro College
unmistakable
Fund,
sense
has
of
helped light the way for
character,
more than
an
500,000
undeniable
students to
sense
graduate
of
from college
legacy.
and become leaders
Always.
of our nation. Since its
Where
start,
trailblazers and innovators chart new paths of possibility. Where academic rigor empowers the strength of character to lead with knowledge and integrity. It's a name that harkens back to over 150 years of truly making a difference in our world. Always Alcorn.
Welcome you to a special edition of Inside Braves Athletics. Let's talk Lady Braves basketball with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. I'm Charles Eppin. Our producers, Jamario Brooks and Cedric Tillman. Where I am, it's raining at the moment, and it's been coming down, so you might hear the rain up on the roof. Hopefully it'll blow over here soon. I wasn't expecting rain at this point in time, but that's what we got. We're going to talk Lady Braves basketball. As you can see, Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. You can text a question, 601-301-2611, and on X, Tall Man Radio. Let's preview what we have coming up next week. And, of course, with this new landscape, we're going to talk with the 1871 collective J.J. Smith. He'll join us next week, and we'll talk volleyball with Lady Braves new volleyball coach Gabriel Harris. That's next Tuesday. The following Tuesday, we'll be in Birmingham, and we're 15 days away from the start of Media Day. As a matter of fact, football players return to campus today, and that's why I have on the Alcorn football shirt, getting ready for the football season. So a lot in the hopper coming up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. As you can see, he joins us. Coach Kilbert, how you doing, sir?
Doing good, Charles. What about yourself, man?
Oh man, it's that time. Once you get into July, time starts flying right on by. I mean, football players are on campus. They're getting ready for opening day in about 7.5 weeks as they take on Northwestern State. So they're on campus. First day back. Some pictures there. It's raining here where I am, but it's just the opposite where you are.
Absolutely. The sun is shining bright where I am. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's hot.
Well, it's just the opposite. The wind is picking up, and it's pretty dark outside. So hopefully, I don't think we'll have any electricity issues here, so we should be just fine. Speaking of fine, Nate Kilbert, if I'm not mistaken, just getting ready for the upcoming season. I've been thinking about Atlanta, thinking about that whole thing. How often do you think about the end of the season, the last game, all the dynamics going in? There were storylines going in with Destiny Brown play. Just thinking about that 18-hour period from the obviously the championship game to the semifinals to the championship game. Just whether or not you would play or not, the dynamic, thinking about that, how we came so far again but couldn't quite get over the hump. How often do you think about, what happened in Atlanta?
Well, Charles, not just the situation with Destiny. I think people don't really realize what our kids actually went through during the whole season and actually the tournament. Think about this, Charles. We lost our starting point guard 2 games into the season. We lost our backup point guard in the tournament after beating A&M in the first round. And Destiny hit a head on the floor the next game against Texas Southern, and she was able to play in the championship game. But imagine all that stuff going on, and for our kids to stay focused like they did, and to be able to be in that situation, I just think it's remarkable. To be honest with you, to be able to get through all of that, and still go out and compete and actually get to the championship game. We wasn't the same team that that started the tournament in the championship game. Obviously, Destiny was in the game. She played for us, but she wasn't herself. We know that, and I think a lot of it had to do with the game before that when her head hit the floor. But just to be able to get through all the things that we was experiencing during the tournament and during the year, and to be able to get it to that championship game, I was proud of our kids. I really was proud of them. But I would like to see us in a situation where we can get to that game and be uh, a whole team and be ourselves the way we was during the regular season. Because losing our starting point guard in the regular season, I think that helped us simply because we lost her early. We had time to adjust. You know what I mean? We had time to adjust to her not being there. But to lose the backup point guard one game in the tournament, that's kind of hard to adjust to. Now you're asking other people to play roles that they're not used to, and just for our kids to be able to play the way they played, I think it was just super. And I don't think about games like that for a long period of time, Charles. I think after the game, maybe the next day and a couple, maybe 2 days. I say 2 days after the game. Yeah, you thinking about it, but we got to move on. We got to try to find some more kids to come. So how can we get back here next year? That's our thought process. When the game is over, a couple of days later, we got to think, how can we get back there to give ourselves a chance to win it? And that's what we do.
What's so crazy about the game of basketball, what we've seen in the NBA with so many players going down, so many key pieces. You talk about the Achilles, that's a whole nother story. But just when you have key players go down, even game 7 of the NBA Finals with Halliburton going down, and he was red hot before he went down. Who knows how game 7 might have gone? It might have been one of the best game 7s we've ever seen. Just think if you had destiny, if you were whole going into that game, trying to play for a championship, it's hard to get back there. And I know you're trying to get back there again, trying to get over that hump. It's tough to get there, but it's just so unfortunate when something like that happens. Injuries happen, unfortunately. It's just, on one hand, it's a part of the game, but on the other hand, it's just so tough at times, especially when you're so close to winning a tournament championship.
Well, it's kind of disappointing too, Charles, the fact that you don't get to actually see the best of us. I think that's the biggest part about it. You don't get a chance to see the real Alcorn State Lady Braves simply because Destiny is not herself. We lost Janae Anderson after the A&M game. But, to me, it's just, ain't no sense of crying about it. It's just spilled milk. You have to be able to get through that. You have to find a way. And we just was unable to find a way to at least keep the game close enough so we could have a chance to win it. And I think that's what makes sports, and especially basketball, so great. Simply because all the other dynamics things that happens to make you have to get your team prepared. You know what I mean? You can get prepared, with all the X's and O's that you want to. Then something like an injury hits you. How do you after that? What do you do to get your team back focused? All those things comes into play. And I just think our kids, over the past couple of years been doing a real good job of staying focused and trying to be the best they possibly can be. I really and truly think things happen for a reason, and it's just unfortunately that it happened to us. We're gonna have our day. I will say this: our goal is to just keep getting there. The tide is going to turn. If we can continue to get there, we're gonna eventually win it. And that's the way I
It's
look
just
at it.
it's just amazing to me how, despite the last couple of years, despite everything, how your team has been able to stay focused through all of that. I mean, even just watching you in shoot around and in practice and in the hotels and in the restaurant, it's just you couldn't tell all that was going on. And how are you able to keep the team focused? How do you do it as a coach, as a staff? I mean, it just takes
Well,
more than one, I'm sure. But how are you and your staff able to keep it on the straight and narrow despite all those tough circumstances?
Well, Charles, you know a lot more than the regular crowd know about our team because you're a lot closer to us. You get a chance to see some of the things that's going on that never gets out there in the public. You know what I mean? But I just think you got to stay locked in. You got to stay focused on what your goal is, and you got to continue to, you know, trust your kids and make them believe in what you're doing. I think that's key. I think they believe in our system. They believe in what we're putting out on the floor. And I just think we have to, if we waver in the way we handle things, that could carry over to our players. We always try to stay positive. We don't never get too high on wins. We don't never get too low on losses. We just try to stay low key and just keep working. I think that's the key. We just have to keep working, keep believing because we feel like we can find a way to get us to a certain point. We just got to keep chipping away at it, and that's what we try to do as a coaching staff. We always meeting and talking about now what kind of adjustment can we make now that this happened. What can we do if this happened? And we will just continue to do that. And I think our coach staff has been good at that. I know Coach Robinson, Coach Powell, and Coach Sanders have done a great job of bringing things to me when we are in a situation where we need to make adjustments and we need to make them quick. You know what I mean? Having good personnel always help with that, and I think our personnel was a little bit better this year than it was the year before we went to the final. We just was unfortunately dealt with some major injuries at some key times during the game, but it's just about being locked in and staying focused. And as a coaching staff, we know we have to do that. If we were asking our kids to do it, why shouldn't we do it?
We're talking with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert as we look at the offseason, kind of reflect on what was a special year and making it to the SWAC championship game 2 years in a row. We'll talk about Atlanta, the first year of the tournament being in Atlanta. We'll talk about that experience. You mentioned the word trust, and it seems like in today's college landscape, that's what it's all about with the NIL and all this other stuff going on, the pay for play. Trust, I think now is probably a bigger deal than ever before. Trusting not only the process in terms of wins and losses on the court, but just the overall process and believing in whatever program you're in, believing in whatever the head coach is selling. And I think, is it safe to say that trust now in this new landscape is even a bigger deal?
I think it is, especially for that year. When we start talking about trust now, we're talking about for 1 year. And then it's the next year. You know what I mean? Because you can't deny a kid an opportunity to make more money, and that's what it's all about. This landscape is always lined up about how much money you can make and all that stuff. So the good thing about our program, our kids has been locked in and loyal to us for the entire year. And they ain't been talking. A lot of times, I think people don't realize that these kids are getting tampered with. People are calling them, trying to get them to change schools. As quiet as it kept, but for the most part, our kids have been locked in and they've been wanting to be here at Alcorn. We don't have a lot of kids getting on the transfer portal. This has probably been the biggest year that we had with kids getting on the transfer portal. And just think about it, we really only had two on the transfer portal. And that's Destiny and Shemaine Finley. But in the past, they just don't get on the transfer portal here, and that's a good thing. That says a lot about Alcorn itself because we done had kids on our team that's been good enough to go other places. They just choose to stay here at Alcorn. Now, will that continue? Because when you be successful, like we have been for the last 2 years, going to the tournament, a lot more people get a chance to see you. So there's a lot more opportunities out there now for our kids, and we just blessed to be able to do some of the things that we're doing, and we're just excited about this coming year just to see if we continue to do that.
How tough is it, Coach, or how tough was it? I mean, with Destiny Brown and Tremaine Finley, in those players hitting the portal, how tough was that? Because Charmaine Finley, she went down early in the season, was trying to get healthy, trying to get in shape, and man, could we have seen the very best of Charmaine Finley down the stretch? We were hoping so, but it just didn't. It was tough. She was in a boot at one point right before the Christmas holiday. Then you have Destiny Brown. I mean, I know that was tough with those players hitting the portal, and I know and I know you like to have. Well, no, I would say like, but you have to have brutal conversations sometimes when it comes. And you and I've talked about this. Sometimes that's a tough conversation to have between you and the player or players. How tough was that when those two? And when you talked about Lady Braves basketball, you talked about Destiny Brown and you talked about Tremaine Finley. How tough was that? Those two leaving your program.
Well, anytime you lose probably your number one score and your number two score, it's always tough when it comes to you looking at how do we replace them. But it was no secret that they at the end of the year they was going to be offered something that they probably could not turn down. We understood that, so we was preparing for that. But just to see them leave, and like you said, we really never got a chance to see the true Finley, because Finley is way better than what she showed us. And Charles, you must got some bad weather your way.
Yeah, we had some problems. I had lightning here. I just got back online.
Okay.
Waiting on Charles. Hey, can you reconnect? Hello? Can you?
Latest information on water quality can help us
Right, Jamari,
decide.
after this
Visiting the
break, we'll be
coast? Before you go, check out the MDQ Beach website. We make it easy to see water quality at every beach 24/7.
Stay.
.ms.gov. What you need to know, the minute you need to know.
This message is sponsored by the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality, the Mississippi Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
All right, we are back. There's Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. We apologize, everyone. There was on the video side, there's lightning, and there's lightning here where I am. So Nate Kilbert is on campus. Our producer Cedric Tillman, Charles Edmond. It's pretty bad weather up here north of campus, so we apologize for that. Coach, as we bring you back, you were just talking about obviously without Destiny Brown and Charmaine Finley, and trying to navigate through that. Still a really good run. You mentioned it twice now, tampering, and I've heard this even at the tournament. There was a player or two that I was told that didn't play in the tournament where tampering was a part of an issue. Is tampering, and I know you talked to other coaches in this conference, is tampering a big issue in the SWAC?
Well, I won't say it's a big issue coming from our sister schools. I think it's from schools that's not in our conference, who can offer more than what we are offering. And when I say tampering, that don't necessarily mean the schools themselves are talking to them, but they got somebody who's connected to the school talking to them about, you can be doing this or you could be making this. That's definitely, anytime you have money and money's involved, you can always have that problem, and there's just no way around it.
Is there anything you can do? And maybe it's a crazy question, but in our business, there's no such thing as a crazy question per se. But what can be done? What safeguards can be put in place, if anything? Or is this just something that's rampant? It's just going to continue to happen as the dollars, as they say, and the duckies continue to increase.
Well, I just think now, since they had the house element and the way it works now, uh, it's not going to be as bad because people going to only give you so much now anyways. When you go a certain place, you're going to be able to make a certain amount of money, and kids going to still get on the transfer portal. So they're not going to have to be lured to get on the transfer portal. I think it's down that universities and schools can actually pay their kids legally now, and I think that'll settle it down a little bit. But we're going to lose kids because we're considered a smaller conference, and so we're going to lose kids to the bigger conference if they really can play, if they got the skill set that a Destiny got, a Finley got, and if we develop kids to get to that point where Destiny and Finley got, we're gonna lose them, and that's just we might as well face that. There will be some loyal ones who say, "No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stay." But money is a big persuader. It can persuade you to do a lot of things you say you won't do.
So
And
this
especially we're talking
trend can
about young kids too. We're talking about
so this
young kids
trend will
too, Charles. We're not talking about other people. Go
right,
ahead.
yeah, and so I was just saying that you talk about recruiting, and I've heard this phrase: you have to recruit your players all over again for the next year. Is that pretty much more the case now that you have to, because you're going to lose players, as you mentioned. You hope not, but just the reality is what it is. Is it that you have to recruit your players all over again, and every year you're going to have to go through the same process?
Well, the thing about it is, when you say recruit them all over, I don't necessarily believe it that you got to recruit them over simply because they know what you're offering them. They already know what you're going to give them. They're trying to find out what somebody else is going to give them. So you don't really have to give them that same old story. They know your story. They want to hear somebody else's story, and I think that's the biggest thing. You just got to be prepared for them to leave. You got to have some backup just in case they do leave. And I think that's the biggest thing because you can't tell them the same story you told them last year, and they know what your story is. They looking to hear what someone else's story is.
We're talking with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. You can text a question 601-301-2611 on X Tall Man Radio. So, Coach, the season obviously is done, and you're in the recruiting process. You've been here, you've been there, you've been looking at other talent. What are the areas of need that you're looking at? Obviously, no Destiny Brown, the center position, no Charmaine Finley. So when you look at this roster, what are the wants and needs as you crisscross the country looking for talent?
Well, I think you always need big kids. You already need some.
We just lost Coach Kilbert right there. Again, on campus, the weather seems to be pretty good, but where we are in a couple of locations, the weather's kind of tough. So we're going to take another break right here, and we'll be
Is,
right back.
um, you know,
Um,
Charles,
okay,
can
yeah,
you hear
yeah,
me?
yeah, because yeah, we can. We're about to take a break, but
Okay.
yeah, you were just talking about the wants and needs of your program.
Yeah, I said you always need post players, and especially when you lose someone with the capability of Finley and Brown, they're just hard to replace. Because both of them to had a complete game, both of them could score. Destiny was a good rebounder; she was a good defender. It's hard to replace those type of kids, but we kind of feel like we did a good job of getting some post players to come in here and kind of replace Destiny and Finley. But it's going to take more than one person. We need a group of people to kind of do some of the things that maybe that Destiny could do by herself. So we feel good about where we are, though, when it comes to our ability to replace them. And anytime you have a situation with our point guards, one being injured and torn her ACL, we don't know how good she's going to be coming back, and we hope she'll be full strength. But you always got to get some backup for that. And I thought we did a good job and get some good kids who can play that point position. And I always feel like you just need somebody who can put the ball in the basket. We feel like we have some young kids that can do that and some old kids that's going to be able to do that. Uh, just for example, like Maya Claytor, I don't think Maya's really been given the opportunity to really show how good she really is. Now she's going to have that opportunity. She's going to be able to get those minutes that she thinks she deserved and that we wasn't giving her. She's going to have that opportunity to prove to us and to the basketball fans that, look, I should have been playing. And I hope she can come out and do exactly that. But we feel good about where we are.
All right, so let's talk about the roster now. I mean, we talked about the players that have hit the portal that won't be back. Talk about the players that will be back. And I know with the new rules with the JUCO, there's some players that might have a little extra time. Did that impact your program? So kind of go over all that with us so folks will get an idea of what the roster looks like with the returners, and then obviously some of the players that you've signed.
Well, fortunately, we are blessed, I think, to be able to say that we have the great core coming back. You know, but saying that, we also lost, to me, our top three scorers. We lost Brown, we lost Finley, and we lost White, Zanaya White. Those are three of our top scorers. So now we got to find a way to replace that. But we got Cheatham coming back. We got Henderson coming back. We got Renee EK Polo coming back. We got Maya Claytor coming back. We got Hurt Floyd coming back. So we got a great nucleus coming back. We just got to be able to put some more kids with them and get them to play together, because we feel like this group here is going to be more of a team type when it comes to, you never know on a given night who's going to be our leading scorer. And I think that's what going to make us dangerous this coming year, because we're going to have so many people that I think are capable of leading us in scoring on a particular night. It's just a matter of them playing team ball. We'll play a little different than what we played last year. This is my thinking. You never really know until you get your kids in practice, but I think we're going to play faster next year. So I think that's going to be important with some of the kids that we assigned, that we signed early and late. They are more suitable to playing faster than what we played in the past. So it's going to be very interesting. But to have Cheatham and Henderson back, and Claytor back, and EK Polar back, that's major for us, because those are the kids now who we're going to be depending on to be top scorers for us, who to put the ball in the basket, to make all the big plays for us. And these other young kids that's coming along, and when they get to the point where we don't have to put any pressure on them now, all we need them to do is relax and play. That's what we're hoping can happen, because we do think we have some young kids that's going to be good for us.
Lady Braves basketball and playing faster. That normally it's half court is defense and causing 30 turnovers a game. So you sound like Coach Morton. He said we're going to play fast. We're going to be up tempo. Are you saying the Lady Braves are going to be up tempo?
Well, I don't think I'm talking about the same kind of tempo that Coach Martin is talking about, because I had a conversation with him. He's talking about really up tempo. I think we're going to play faster. We're going to take fast break opportunities, and we don't have that. You'll see us run our sets then, but I want to give our kids more opportunity to be more creative when they're in the fast break. When they got one-on-ones, we feel like we have athletes now who can be more aggressive in the one-on-ones, in the transition game. So we look for us to take quicker shots in transition, not in our half court. Once we get in our half court stuff, we want you to make a mistake, and then we want to get a layup or an open jumper against you. So it's going to be interesting to see, can we really play that style like we really want to play, which is we want to play up tempo. So I think we had a personnel to do it. But all that's got to come into play for us. Everybody got to do what we think they're capable of doing to be able to do it.
All right, so let's now talk about the players you have coming in that you have signed. You talked about the wants and needs. Did you feel like you fill those holes? And talk about the players that you have coming in.
Well, Charles, we always feel like we fill those holes simply because, we got some of the kids that we really went after. I think we got a lot of the kids that we really wanted. Sometimes when you're signing kids, you don't really get that kid you really want. You have to fall back on the kid that, okay, she's good enough. We have to take her because we didn't get the kid we really want. But we got 2 to 3 of the kids that we really wanted. Especially I think the key is going to be the post kid we got, Christy Walker from North Alabama. She's about a 6'2" post player who's going to be, I think, just dynamic for us when it comes to her ability to post up, her ability to shoot the elbow shot. I think she's going to be somebody that's going to really have a lot of people scheming to stop her. And I think she's going to make our team a whole lot better, simply because we're going to have somebody, even more so than Destiny, who we can throw the ball down too low now with their back to the basket, and she's capable of scoring that. She's going to demand a double team. And I think that's what makes other players better when you have someone who can demand a double team. And Walker definitely can do that for us. And she's got a little experience. She was a freshman at North Alabama last year, so she'll be a sophomore for us. So we just think the sky is going to be the limit for her. And we're looking forward to getting her on campus and actually going to work with her. You know, she's one of the key players we think that we signed, and she's a center for us. So, and we also have Lauren Nelson, who's a junior college player from Mississippi Delta, who can play the 4 or the 3-4s. She's about 6 feet tall. She's just real athletic, can run the floor. That's why we think we can play faster with her. She can run the floor. Got a nice shot. Don't take a lot of shots. I think that's because she's such a team ball player, but we're gonna probably ask her to be more aggressive offensively, you know. And I think she's gonna be able to come in and help us. And these are a junior college kid in Nelson, and Walker is a transfer portal kid. So these kids have experience, and I haven't started talking about my freshmen yet. And, we got the point guard we think we need that we tried to get out of high school. The little kid Hunt, right down there. Franklin County, right down the road from us. So we tried to get out of high school. She went to junior college and then ended up going to Tougaloo, and she transferred to us. So we think we got a winner right there. We think we got one of the best point guards in the conference with her, and along with her and Jada together, each one of them can play the two of the one for you. So that makes you even more dangerous because both of them are capable of shooting the ball, and both of them are quite capable of getting you in your offense. So having those two kids, and we signed Sarah Fleming's daughter, Leah Welcher, and she's about 6'4". She needs some inside work, but she's a big body down there for us, and she got a hell of a work ethic. So we're gonna just see how good we can be with those two big, with Walker and Welcher down low for us, and Lauren Nelson being a junior college kid. We got Hunt coming in as the point guard. So those four right there is going to make us a lot better than what we would normally be because of their experience, and they've been a lot of places, they've seen different things, and we were just fortunate to be able to sign those 4 kids right there.
When you talk about Sarah Fleming, you talk about one of the toughest players when she played at Alcorn, undersized, but she would take it to you in the post. And obviously, it appears as if her daughter comes from that same cloth, someone that's tough to get the ball inside and let her go to work.
Yeah, her daughter is a lot bigger than Sarah. Her daughter is 6'4". Sarah was closer to 6 feet more so than anything. But Sarah has a lot of experience. Sarah could jump. We talking about somebody uh, who's very athletic. Sarah's daughter is not as athletic, but she's big. You know what I mean? So she's gonna uh, make you pay attention to her because of her size. She's somebody who we're gonna look to use for set screens on people. Maya Claytor should be getting a lot of open shots now because of her being in the game. So anytime you got a person of that size, she can be used in a lot of different ways to help other people be better.
So when you talk about Cheatham, Henderson, you talk about Claytor, the Laser Hurt Floyd, with obviously size, you stress size. What's the key to winning the SWAC championship then? Is it about size? What Southern was able to get the ball inside? Are we talking about teams and Southern got a little bit bigger as well? Talking with their coach. Is size the key now for the Lady Braves? We can score. We got the perimeter. We got the mids.
Well,
Now it's just a matter of getting the paint points.
Well, I don't think size is the reason why Southern got so much better. I think speed was the reason why Southern got so much better. The one thing that Southern did, they went out and got the guard from Alabama State. That little point guard changed the way they do things. And I think her speed created problems on both sides of the ball for us, defensively and offensively. And she made a couple open threes for them. So I think it wasn't size, it was speed for them. But I think what we're gonna have both. We're going to have speed and size, at all positions. Even our point guards are gonna be have decent size. They're gonna be right at 5'9", so 5'10". So that's gonna be good with Jada and Hunt. But I think you need both. You need size and the ability to score the ball and be able to get easy baskets. I think is what is key. Now we can get some easy ones when we're struggling to make those outside shots. We can throw it down to Walker, and Walker get us a couple easy ones. And that's we hadn't really been able to get that in the past because we didn't really have anybody who liked to play with their back to the basket. Cheatham got us most of our basket. With her back to the basket because that's an area that she could play real well, and we'll still use her for that. We'll still post Cheatham up every now and then out of our offense. We'll post Kiki up out of our offense, but we're gonna feel like we're gonna have some legit back to the basket post players this year with Walker being in the game. So and with Leo being in the game, we think those are two people that we can use their size and their body to be able to score easy baskets for us.
Well, it's a good thing to have when you have the experience that's been a part of those two straight SWAC tournament championship games. In addition to the players that you have, so it's not like it's a fresh team. You have the team with those SWAC hours and even the SWAC tournament championship hours, Coach. So how important is that as you bring everybody in coming up next month?
Well, I think it's very important, Charles. I think it's very important to have a core coming back like we have coming back with that experience. Uh, and I think a lot of the kids that's coming back for us, they've been craving for this opportunity. They feel like this is their time, and I'm talking like people like Claytor. She feel like this is her time, and Ek Polo. I think she feel like this is her time to really get more playing time. Because I think those two kids who feel like they haven't been getting the playing time that they deserve. Now this is their opportunity. And we always say, wait your turn. Wait till your time. Now they're saying it's their time. And having Kiki and Cheatham back, those four kids right there, I think it's going to be the difference. Their leadership has got to be better than what it was last year. We're going to depend on them to be better leaders than what they were last year. And I think by setting an example about their work, just through work alone, they don't have to talk a lot. That's what I always thought Kiki was good at. And she would show you how to do it. She wouldn't tell you. She would show you by the way she worked every day, how she came into practice every day and practiced hard. And I just think it's going to be great to have that kind of nucleus coming back because when you have the experience that we have, experience build confidence too, Charles. I really believe that when a kid done been in your program for so many years, they starting to know your system a lot better. They start to have more confidence in what they're doing, and I just think our kids are at that point now where they're going to be a lot more comfortable in our system and a lot more comfortable in their game. I think that's the key. They're going to have a lot more confidence in their ability to get the job done.
And the players will be coming in next month. I know some of the teams, even in our conference, are on campus now, but your players will be in once you kind of get ready for the fall, right?
Yeah, our kids will come in and when the regular students come, they're gonna come in. I think check-in is like August the 13th, something like that. Yeah, they'll come in during that time.
I know typically, traditionally, your players don't come in until that time in August. Is that something that you? I know you would love to have your players on campus right now. Some conference teams do have their players on campus now. I know in a perfect world for Lady Braves basketball, you would like to have the same.
Well, to be honest with you, I think we could do that just like the boys chose to bring their kids on campus. We could do the same thing. We just choose not to as a coaching staff because we don't want to take their summers away from them. As quiet as it kept, child, it's a long season. I mean, you start talking about kids going from July until March. That's a long time. And what we have found with our kids that uh, by the time we get to tournament time, when we bring them out, they ready to go home. For the last couple of years, we hadn't done that. We hadn't brought them out during the summer. We gave them time to kind of relax, get away from basketball a little bit, and kind of get a little peace of mind. And when they came back, and when we got to tournament time, we was ready to play. And I thought that played a big part in us playing as well as we played in the tournament because we didn't take their summers away from them. We allowed them to get jobs during the summer and do some of the things they wanted to do. Now, don't get me wrong, because I was all for bringing kids in the summer and just working them and stuff. But I think it worked better for us not to bring our kids in to let them have that time, especially with dealing with mental health and all that stuff. Kids need a break from sports too, and we chose to not bring our kids in. And when they get in here in August, we go right at it. You know, they had to come in with a physical and all that stuff, so they know that. So we going from August to March and not from July to March. So I think it's been working in our favor. But I think you have to do what you feel like is best for your program, and some programs feel like it's best to bring their kids in. We just do just the opposite. We give our kids a little time to kind of find themselves, and it has worked for us.
The one thing I will say about playing sports during the seasons, and then you look at the calendar. So in basketball, you're playing during the Thanksgiving break, you're playing during the Christmas break, limited time to go home during Thanksgiving and Christmas break, and it depends on each school's spring break. SWAC tournament is during either right before spring break or right during spring break. So it's kind of a tougher thing to navigate in basketball because you're playing through those holidays and perhaps you lose your spring break as well.
Yeah, I know we lose ours because that's our spring break normally during the tournament time. A lot of our kids, and what you just said, Charles, people don't think about that. They Kids don't get a chance to go home for Thanksgiving. We out here doing just right after Christmas and doing New Year's. We're out here preparing, getting ready. So that's a lot. Especially for this new generation of kids. It's a lot for them, and a lot of them can't navigate that. That season like that, and we've been fortunate to be able to give them their summers off and come back and actually get ourselves ready to play for conference play. I think we have time to get them prepared for conference. It hurt us, I think, in a lot of our preseason games because we're not there yet, condition wise, and especially with a new group coming in. But the thing about us is we have the majority of our core coming back, so we can get away with some things maybe a young team can't get away with. Uh, but come SWAC time, we should be ready. We should be prepared and ready to do what we need to do to give ourselves a chance to get back to where we were the last 2 years.
Well, what have the conversations been like with your players during the summer? You talked about some of them are working. I'm sure some of them are working out. But what are some of the conversations with your players been like this summer?
Well, we hoping that they follow what our strength and conditioning coach sending them when it comes to strength and condition. Some of the things that they can do to help themselves be better prepared when they come and face us, because they know once they get here, we going right at it. So they need to be out. If they know more than running a mile or 2 miles, doing some little weightlifting on your own wherever you can go to do it. If they know more than push-ups, but Coach Grant send them out a kind of like a routine they need to be doing, kind of getting themselves prepared for when they get ready to come to school.
We're talking with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. We'll be getting to your questions here. Coach, there's been some changes. Well, one potential change didn't happen. We talked about this, the Thursday-Saturday deal. And when we talked right after the season, that was a topic of conversation. The Thursday-Saturday games, would they continue? It was a one-year thing. It had to be voted on, yay or nay. Give us the resolution on that particular aspect, because it has gotten a lot of conversation. If you want to do this thing full throat in the SWAC, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, or is it Saturday, Monday? Give us what the coaches voted on and how that came about.
Well, it's still pretty much what it was last year, Charles. Just on the back end of it, you're gonna get more double hitter games. We're still going Thursday, Saturday, Monday, but when we get into March, it's gonna be like those last two games that we play at home. It's gonna be on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and they're gonna be double hitter games. And those last two games when we go on the road to play, I think we play. Is it Pine Bluff? No, it's not Pine Bluff. It's Texas Southern, I think. When we go on the road and play, I got my schedule right here. I'm gonna look at it. Yeah, we go to Texas Southern to play Texas Southern Prairie View. I think those two games gonna be double hitter games. They'll be on Thursday and a Saturday. And then when we come home to play Mississippi Valley and Pine Bluff, it'll be a double hitter game, but it'll be on a Tuesday and Thursday, just before we get ready to go to the SWAC tournament. So the fans are going to get a lot more double hitter games than what we did last year, but we're still dealing with Thursday, Saturday, Monday.
And the reason for the double headers on the back end, the last four games, the SWAC tournament will start on a Monday, and you end the season on a Thursday. So that's an interesting conversation, interesting dynamic. You finish on a Thursday, and those bottom seeded teams will be playing on Monday. You want to avoid that, Coach. I got the bracket, and we saw this past season with the
Let me
lower seeded teams and having to play so much in the tournament, especially back to back the first couple of nights.
Yeah, and let me just mention this to you, Charles. There is conversation about the tournament starting on Tuesday now. And the bracket that we have now is starting on Monday, but it is conversation moving the games back to Tuesday and actually getting top 14 buys until Friday. So that's that's some conversation that they're having. They want to start on Tuesday, and they're gonna actually get a top 14 buys until Friday. Right now, the top 14 they have buys up until I think Thursday. So it's
So,
good to be some
so
moving around on that.
okay, so talk about that then. That's a little bit of a, I wouldn't say breaking news, but some conversations have because there are some people,
Yeah.
Coach, I'm sure, on this social media space that just don't think that we ought to take 24 teams to the tournament. They just think that's just taking everybody, and I understand why. I get it, and I understand what's been voted on and why the student athlete experience and all of that. So there's conversation amongst people who cover the SWAC and in the social media spaces that why are we taking 24 teams to the tournament? It shouldn't be that. Like it was 10, it should be maybe 8 like it was, but taking everybody, there's some people who don't necessarily believe that and don't agree with it, but here we are. Talk a little bit about the decision to maybe start it on Tuesday as compared to Monday.
Well, Charles, I just say it like this. I think you can look at it like this. Most of the other conferences are doing it. It can be a recruiting. It can be a recruiting tool against you. If you're recruiting a kid and the other conference are recruiting them, they can tell them that, well, one thing is you're going to get an opportunity to play in our conference tournament because all of our teams go, don't care what school you go to. You go to the SWAC, if they're only taking 10 teams, you might not get a chance to go to experience your conference tournament. So all the other schools are doing it. I think that's one reason we're trying to push to do it because most of the other conferences are doing it. They're finding a way to make it work. So I think that's one reason why we're doing it because we want to kind of stay close to what the other conferences are doing. It does that ain't what works best for us though. Now I'll be honest with you on that. I think 10 teams probably work best for us to bring only 10 teams, but I think we do it because most of the other conferences are doing it. They're getting their student athletes that tournament experience, and we wanted to do the same with ours.
So if it's approved to start on Tuesday, that's an extra day then, because it is a grind when you're playing 4 straight double headers and then you're heading to Atlanta. Um, that extra day, does it make a difference? Oh, I think we lost Coach Kilbert there right before that answer. Um, we're gonna take a
Charles,
break. Oh, okay, there we go.
Charles,
Okay, we lost him again. Um, I tell you what, we're going to take a break right here. Yeah, we'll take a break right here. We'll be right back after this timeout. Good stuff with Nate Kilbert. We'll be right back.
Every
Here,
36
every
seconds,
journey
a
is
vehicle
unique,
is stolen
but no
in the
one
United
walks alone.
States.
At the Alcorn State University School of Business, we don't just teach business, we always empower visionaries who dare to reimagine it. From day one, you'll forge connections and develop the confidence to lead in a rapidly evolving world. Join a legacy of trailblazers who don't just respond to change, they drive it. Always ahead, always empowering, always Alcorn.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
We've always known that education is the pathway to greater understanding. In our School of Education and Psychology, we believe in the power of human potential, both yours and those you'll serve. You'll join a community that has always championed innovation in human development while finding your own unique path to impact. Because we've always known that teaching isn't just a career, it's a calling. Always educating, always inspiring, always Alcorn.
Leaders in this nation. So we want to
you back. We have Nate Kilbert back with us. So, Coach, you were talking about the tournament in Atlanta and the 12 teams. We talked about advantage, disadvantage. Is there any disadvantage of playing it on starting on Tuesday if that in fact is the case? Coach, I can't hear you here. I think we can you hear me, Coach?
You may have been muted.
Coach, I think you may have do you have your thing muted? Can't hear him. All right, we're going to take another break here. We're going to take another break. Coach, stand by. We'll try to get your audio back. We'll be right back after this timeout.
Hi, I'm Smokey Robinson.
We always believe in the power of curiosity.
UNCF,
our students don't just study, they reimagine possibilities. Every moment is an invitation to explore, to challenge, to transform how the world understands knowledge. Within our College of Arts and Sciences, discovery meets transformation. Your breakthrough starts here. Always mentoring, always connected, always Alcorn.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all. If I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Can I get the now bar, please?
$1.
Have a good one.
Got it.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let me get a now bar.
Sure.
$1.
Appreciate you.
Got it.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Danger of starting a wildfire.
And WPRL 91.7 FM.
Hundreds of thousands of veterans have taken off their
Some names immediately evoke an uncommon sense of family, an unmistakable sense of character, an undeniable sense of legacy. Always. Where trailblazers and innovators chart new paths of possibility. Where academic rigor empowers the strength of character to lead with knowledge and integrity. It's a name that harkens back to over 150 years of truly making a difference in our world. Always Alcorn.
action. One act of compassion can make a difference.
Charles Edmond here with Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert. Do we have Coach Kilbert back? I don't know what happened right there. We might have
No,
to
he's
get
not.
Coach Kilbert back. Apparently, we have lost him for some strange reason. We have lost him. But anyway, he was mentioning the Thursday Saturday tilt will continue. It was voted on, and it will continue. My guess on that, and we'll be talking with the commissioner, by the way, in 2 weeks, 15 days from today, will be SWAC Football Media Day. It was a 1-year deal, and he had to be voted on. So clearly it was voted on, and it passed. So that is something that we'll have again, and with the exception of the last 4 games of the regular season, the last 2 weeks will be a Thursday, Saturday, then a Tuesday, Thursday. And as Nate Kilbert mentioned, it's a possibility the SWAC tournament will start on a Tuesday, still yet to be determined. But as of right now, it's still on a Monday, but it could start on a Tuesday, which is an extra day for the start of the 2025-26 season and the tournament. All right, now I think we've got Coach Kilbert back. Coach, can you hear me? Can I hear you?
I can hear you, Charles.
Okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so we talked about the tournament. The tournament in Atlanta. Let's get to that. First year in Atlanta. I was sitting behind the commissioner. Every president that was there gave the commissioner rave reviews. Your thoughts of the tournament in Atlanta? Is it a rave review from Nate Kilbert?
It's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love the location. I love how all the hotels are right around it. It's just a great atmosphere, I think, for basketball. So he got the thumbs up for me 2 times.
And you fly in, you're right by the airport, you got a ton of hotels. And even the commissioner talked about the fact that they sold out of the conference block that they had for everyone. They're going to have to find some more rooms because it was just so convenient. And that's the one thing that I liked about it, the convenience. If you stayed right by the arena, it's a ton of hotels, but you really don't have to drive to go anywhere unless you just want to. I mean, everything is right there.
But just think about it, Charles. We only took 10 teams last year. We're taking 12 this year. So if you haven't gotten your room, you better get them because they're gonna run. Those rooms are gonna get locked up quick, and that's what we're trying to do: find out exactly when it's gonna start, and go ahead and get our room. And the bad part is about it when you're doing your rooming for the tournament, you don't really know where you're gonna fall. My thing is just try to stay out of those lower seeds. Try to get in those high seeds, and that'll keep you from worrying about all that other stuff. So that's what you got to try to fight for.
Well, before we kind of got knocked off base, I was making the point that even with 10 teams last year, when you were seed 7 through 10, you're playing back-to-back nights, and I think it took a toll. Mississippi Valley won that first game. You could tell. I mean, you're not used to playing back-to-back nights unless you're playing in a tournament scenario. I mean, 2 games in 3 nights, you can kind of, the Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, you can kind of recover. But them back-to-backs, I mean, I think it hurt Florida A&M's men. I think it hurt Valley's women. You could just tell they just ran out of gas because 2 games in a 24-hour span, that was tough.
But Charles, that is what it's supposed to do. The tournament is set up for the 1 and 2 seed to win it. So they don't want. They are the ones who've been doing a great job all year long to get those positions, to get the top seeds. So the tournament is set up for them to win it. Now if they don't do what they're supposed to do once they get in there, it should be like that. Those seed teams should have to play all those games. They shouldn't be just like the 1 and 2 seeds, simply because they earn that. The 1 and 2 seed, they earn where they are stationed at, where they are put at. They should have the opportunity to play against somebody who done played 2 or 3 games. I mean, that's the purpose of seeding. We earn this. We earn this because what we did during the regular season got us to this point. So that's the reason why we don't have to play those games like you guys who was an 8 seed or a 9 seed. That's the reason y'all got to play those games. Y'all didn't do what you should have done in the regular season. That's what makes regular season important. Because if you didn't have seeding, regular season wouldn't be important no more. So that's the reason why I love the way the tournaments is set up. The lower seeds should have to play the games that they are playing. It shouldn't be fair when it comes to the tournament. Everybody should have an equal opportunity in the tournament. You didn't do it in the regular season. the regular season means something. So these teams got to start. We got to start doing better in the regular season if we want a good seed in the tournament.
All right, Coach, because of the delays and the outages, let's get to some of the questions that we have. 601-301-2611. Coach, one question. Did you sign two kids from Macon, Georgia?
Well, actually, we did. We did. We signed we signed two good kids from Macon, Georgia. We signed Johnson and Francis from Georgia. They actually played on the same high school team. We're gonna
Okay.
we feel like those two kids gonna come in here, Charles, and they're gonna push some kids for playing time. We really feel that. Both of them I think only one thing problem I see with them probably is just they don't have that college experience. They are actually high school kids. They straight out of high school, you know. So Jasmine is supposed to be someone. She's about 6 feet tall who can really shoot the basketball. Jasmine can probably play 2 or 3 different positions for us. We look for her to be a 2-3 for us, who probably could play a 4. Francis is an undersized post. You know, people like to compare her to a Morrow at LSU, but Francis is only like 5'8". Morrow at least 6 feet, but she's a go-getter. So we're looking forward to those kids challenging some of our upperclassmen for playing time.
All right, we appreciate that question.
Those are two of our early signees, but we also had another early signee out of high school, and she's from Georgia, and that's Birch. And Birch is more of a post player. And if I had to choose someone off our team that she reminds you of, it'll be Kiki Henderson. I mean, if Kiki remind me of so much of this kid coming out of high school is a crying shame. Well, she remind me so much of Kiki because they game is similar, and it's gonna be really fun watching them in practice because I think they're gonna really get at each other. So we signed 3 high school kids, and the 2 of them from the same high school, and the other one is from Jackson High School because the 2 from Macon, Georgia, is from Central High, and Burks is from Jackson High.
So the
Those are
conversation
our
in this
3
new
freshmen.
Yeah, so the new landscape in terms of getting players from the transfer portal, coaches living in the portal, what does it mean for kids coming out of high school? You're saying that, hey, there's still opportunity there, it just depends on the program, and you're taking full advantage of that.
Yeah, you know, Charles, I think our biggest thing was we was able to sign some high school kids because we had a good nucleus of experienced kids coming back. And that's why we signed those kids early, because we have a great nucleus coming back with a lot of experience now. This is the time you need to put a few little high school kids in there with them so they have time to grow. You won't have to, just throw them in the fire. We don't feel like we're going to have to throw these kids in the fire. Now, someone might jump in the fire on their own because they're so good, but we won't have to throw them in the fire. They can kind of take their time and, and learn from some of the upperclassmen.
All right, we appreciate that question. And we were talking about the SWAC schedule. Question is coming: are we playing Mississippi Valley on Saturday? I think the one thing that's old and tried and true. Your rivals, you want to play them on a Saturday, whether it's the Gramblings, whether it's the Southerns, whether it's the Jacksons, whether it's the Mississippi Valleys. It always seems to be special when you're playing them on a Saturday. Every other year we've done that. So the way the schedule is set up, Coach, we'll be playing Valley on Saturday this season.
No, we won't. We'll be playing them on Thursday, like we did last year. But that is a great question, and when you find the answer to it, let me know too, because I think we should be playing them on Saturday too. Because let me tell you why, Charles. Jackson State play them on Saturday last year, so this should be our turn to play Valley on Saturday, because they are a rivalry for us too, as well as Jackson. Jackson's getting the better of that. They getting Valley on Saturday every year, and Jackson knew what they was doing. When whoever did this schedule, they had somebody in the room when it came to playing Mississippi Valley. That's one of our Mississippi schools. We should have the opportunity this year to play them on Saturday and play Pine Bluff on Thursday. Jackson shouldn't get them every year on Saturday. That's a money making game for us. When you start talking about Mississippi school and rivalries. So Jackson got the better of that deal. Somehow we need to go back to the drawing table with that, and we need to get a piece of that. Alcorn should be playing Mississippi Valley on a Saturday. We should get that.
Yeah.
It should flip flop. Jackson get them 1 year and we get them 1 year, but Jackson got them both years.
Yeah, I do think that the big rivals in SWAC basketball, the Texas Southern Prairie Views, Alabama State's A&M, those games should always, at least in my opinion, be on a Saturday, no matter what. However way you can juggle the schedule, I just think it just makes sense for those teams to play those rival games on a Saturday, to me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing about that is, Charles, we got Jackson on every Saturday. We play them on Saturdays, So, and with us being their traveling partner, when we change traveling partner, that's kind of mix things up a little bit. But we understand that Jackson and Valley, they're Mississippi school. They want to be able to play each other on Saturday too. They had that last year. It should be our turn to have them on Saturday this year, and I don't know why that didn't happen. Big Jackson got them on
No,
Saturday in the schedule every year.
yeah, and the other thing too, we open up with Jackson. We open up with Jackson 1 year at home and 1 year in Jackson when school is not in session. I don't know what can be done with that, if anything, because now you've got these games and you've got the tournament. I just wonder if that's even possible with the changing of the schedule, because you and I have talked about this with the last 2 weekends. You've got double headers Thursday, Saturday, and then Tuesday, Thursday. We've talked about in the future whether or not you're going to be playing games in December. Is that something that potentially is on the drawing board for next season? You start conference play in December to kind of get a head start of it, and then you have a little bit more time to get ready for the tournament. Is that something that's being talked about?
I think it is. I think it's something that's being talked about simply because we want to be able to move our tournament up so we won't be playing in our tournament then going right into an NC2A game. We don't have time to prepare for those games after our tournament. So playing in December will give us more time to prepare. Like the rest of the conferences, they get more time to prepare for whoever they got to play in the tournament. So I know there's a lot of talk from our conference office about moving games to December, and they pushed it off to next year. So because some people was locked in with contracts now, and I think they in our meetings with the head coaching meeting, they kind of let us know to kind of stay away from that till we get dates set. They won't stop you from being able to play guarantee games. You can't play them when we got conference games. So I know there's a lot of talk about that.
So it's either or. Either you play a bunch of games late to try to fit it in, or you start the conference schedule earlier to try to fit it in. What do you prefer?
Most conferences, Charles, they start their conference season earlier. Most conferences are playing some of their conference games in December. Especially you just think about some of those conference that got 16 teams in their conference. They have to be able to play start earlier to be able to play late. So they can get their conference tournament over with and still have time to prepare for whoever they got to play. And we're getting to that point now, taking our 12 hour teams that we're gonna have to play earlier to actually have more time to prepare for whoever wins our tournament can have more time to prepare for their opponent.
Well, speaking of the
And
schedule,
I agree with that.
Well, speaking of the schedule, you're working on your non-conference schedule. It's going to be an interesting start to your season. You're going to start at home. It'll be busy for yours truly. You got Florida going down to Florida State, the men on November 5th, but then the day before, November 4th, you start your season. Coach, talk about the schedule, how are you able to put it together, and just talk a little bit about that.
Well, actually, we played November 3rd, Charles. We played Nickel
The
State
third,
at
I'm sorry.
home on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that opening day on that Monday. We played them. We played them at home. And actually, I think we have a very interesting schedule because we play on November the 3rd at home, and then we play on November the 5th at home. That's 2 games at home. We play the Mississippi University for women at home on the 5th. And so on the 11th, we'll go to the University of Alabama and play them. And then we'll come right back home and play the University of Arkansas Baptist on the 12th. So we got some good games at home. And we'll on November the 20th, we'll play LSU in Baton Rouge. And on the 24th, we'll go to this tournament in Destiny, Florida, where we'll play against Mississippi State. We'll play Mississippi State first, and then we'll play the winner loser of Providence, Middle Tennessee. Depending on what we do against Mississippi State, whether we fall in the losing bracket, whoever lose the other game, or we in the winning bracket, play whoever win the game. So we got an opportunity to play against. We know we're going to play Mississippi State on the 24th, and we possibly could play Middle Tennessee State, Providence on the 25th. So we'll play 2 games in Destiny, Florida, and then after that we'll come back home and we'll play. Matter of fact, that'll end us for the November area, and then we'll come back home. Hopefully we're gonna be able to schedule the game against Russ College on December 1st. We'll play them at home, and then we'll play University of Alabama Birmingham on the 15th in Birmingham, and then we'll play Ole Miss after Christmas on 28th before we go into swag play.
So you have one game after
So we got a
Christmas.
nice schedule. Yes.
Yeah. And so now you got these back-to-backs with the tournament, kind of what you would maybe simulate if, heaven forbid, if you finish in that lower tier where you're going to be playing some back-to-back. So it that is kind of a simulation early in the season.
Yeah, it is, Charles, and that's one reason I wanted to get in that tournament, to get kind of used to that. If for some reason, regardless, you're going to play a lot. If you're a 1 seed, you're still going to play some more games not necessarily back to back, but you're going to play maybe three games in 4 days. You know what I mean? Even if you're the 1 seed, you're gonna have that 1 day off, and you still gonna have to play those 2 games. So, so you're gonna be looking at playing some games that right after each other that you're not used to doing. You're not gonna have the time off in the tournament that you would have off in the regular season. So, I think that's one way to prepare your mindset for it. Is kind of do it during the regular season a little bit, and we're doing it a little bit.
Well, Coach, here we are, the first day of July. What is it that right now you and your staff are doing? Your players won't be in for another month or so, 5 weeks. What's on the agenda now?
Well, right now we're basically just scouting. The thing that I think people be on me about is not putting out your recruits out there and who you got on your team and all that stuff. Because people are doing just what we're doing now. We're working on strength and weakness of our opponents. We're working on schemes. We're watching all the teams that we got to play on our schedule. We're watching their play sets, their out of bounds plays. Everybody that makes the scouting report when we get ready to play them, we're charting their strength and weakness. Who they brought in, what can she do, what she have a hard time do, what is her tendency. That's what we do all summer, and then that's a real hard job to be able to focus on that. And then what you got to do is now you got to carry all that stuff you did over the summer over to your team. That's how you get prepared for teams. You find out who they got coming in, who did they lose, who's replacing this kid. What are the coaches' tendency? What scheme do they run offensively? What do they do defensively? That's what we do in the summertime, getting ready for these teams. Even the non-conference school, we have to know what they're doing, and we got to be able to translate that over to our kids, and at the same time, find out what our kids' strengths and weaknesses are, what they like to do for the new ones that's coming in. So we always got stuff on our plate to do. We just got to make sure that we're following up on it and being good at what we do when it comes to scouting these teams. And the summer is a great time to do it. That's why I like to send my schedule in late. That's why I like to send my personnel in late, because I know what schools are doing. They're getting ready and prepared for you, and they have more coaches than we have to do this. They got 6 coaches. We got 4. And it's just different, and that is not an easy job. Getting your team prepared, some work go into that if you want to have your team really ready to play against that, especially in the non-conference. The non-conference, you start playing against new teams and stuff. You want to have your team so they know what the other team is tendencies are and what they really like to do. Now, can you stop it all the time? No, you can't. You can't stop it all the time. Sometimes size, you can't stop size. You know what I mean? When we play some of the bigger schools, there's certain things they're gonna run it all day, and we can know what they're gonna run. We just can't stop it. But at least we know what they're doing.
When I talked to you last week or the week before, you and your staff were in Monroe. Some pretty good talent over there in Central Louisiana. Talk about that.
Yeah, some real good talent over there in Louisiana. it's a lot of young talent over there. I think that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of young talent over there. I'm talking about like 10th graders and 11th grade kids that can really play. And there's a lot of coaches there watching them too. I talked to LSU coach was there. We had a lot of the bigger school coaches was there. Jackson State was there. So it was just great. We could get out and have an opportunity to put some kids on our recruiting chart and be able to follow up on it. And that's what we had at the same time, Charles. They had a big event going on in Mississippi too. We had our coaching staff up there watching that event. We got an opportunity to see a lot of good Mississippi kids because we really want to try to sign a lot of good Mississippi kids to come down here and because I really think that helps your crowd and everything when you got some Mississippi kids on your roster, and we're looking to get some on our roster.
Well, I know conference play is coming up right around the corner. I mean, we saw Southern University win the tournament, and we saw a good opportunity for Alabama A&M, and they had a chance to win the regular season. They kind of stumbled. When you look at the SWAC landscape right now, how wide open is the Southwestern Athletic Conference on the women's side? Did we lose Coach Kilbert again? Oh, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can hear you.
Charles?
Okay. Yeah. How wide open is and we're gonna wrap it up. Obviously, weather here is just the weather here and in different locations. It's pretty tough. One final question here.
It's bad. It's getting bad here too, Charles.
Yeah. It's some crazy weather. Finally, when you talk about the SWAC, how wide open is it, Coach? I mean, Alabama A&M had a shot at it, and they kind of stumbled down the stretch. We beat the top teams in the league down the stretch. Jackson State and Coach Richards trying to rebound. How wide open is the Southwestern Athletic Conference on the women's side?
Well, I'll say it like this, Charles. I think you have probably about 5 teams that's capable of winning it all. I think you got 5 teams up there at the top that's capable of winning it. So I think that makes it wide open. When it comes to who's got the better chance of winning, I think you got about 5 teams who's capable of winning. With some of the team, some of the players that they signed, and some of the new people they got coming in, I think you got about five teams that's capable of doing it. And I think we in that bunch too.
I'm expecting to be in that bunch. I'm expecting to be in that bunch, Coach. I'm trying to avoid that maybe Monday or Tuesday. I saw that grind. That's nothing nice. But hey, right. I'd rather see it on the back end. I mean, like as you mentioned, even if you're at the top, you still have to go through that grind on the back end, whether it's the semifinals or the finals. I'll take that rather. And I know you would just like to get in. You can't win it if you're not in it. So you can take that attitude as well. But I'm really looking forward to it. Coach, we appreciate it. We're going to be talking down the road as we get ready for the fall season.
All right, Charles. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
We appreciate Lady Braves head coach Nate Kilbert joining us here with the weather and everything. We apologize for some of the starts and stops. Those things happen sometimes. The weather where I am is pretty rough, and as Coach Kilbert talked about on campus as well. Next week, we'll have the 1871 Collective Director, J.J. Smith, will join us on the back end from 5:30 to 6, and we're going to talk Lady Braves volleyball with Gabriel Harris, new Lady Braves volleyball coach. That's next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and then the following week we'll be in Birmingham. Full coverage, wall-to-wall coverage of 2025 SWAC football, media day, coaches, interviews, athletic directors, the commissioner, a new landscape. We'll talk all about it. For our producers, Jamario Brooks and Cedric Tillman, I'm Charles Edmond. Glad you can join us. We'll talk to you next Tuesday at 5 o'clock. So long.
You are